Welcome to the From the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He's a Twitter like whore, an Instagram thirst trap, and your grandma's guilty pleasure, Beef Loaf. A West Coast attitude in a decidedly Midwest body, My Sock Summer. And your host, he's sharing obscure music thoughts to give you time to hit the bathroom, Cheesy E.
Thank you, Cornsey. Welcome to the From the 108 podcast. Get ready for some baseball, beer, and bullshit. And remember the drinking rules. If Beeflo says allegedly, or that he made a video about that, you drink. If My Sock Summer mentions his time on the West Coast or blames his kids for something, you drink. And if I fuck up the intro or make MSS appear to be dumb, you drink. And of course, you can make all of us drink for $1.08 or more. And speaking of drinking, my guys, what are you drinking? Beef Loaf, what are you drinking tonight?
Oh, boy. New gift.
Feeling festive today, boys. I'm drinking a little Añejo Black Barrel Hornitos tequila. I just felt like tequila tonight. I would have gone vodka salad. I didn't feel like making it. I just want to pour straight into the glass and drink a little tequila and enjoy myself with you boys and talk a bunch of mess tonight because I got a bunch of shit to talk this evening.
You got shit on your mind?
I got shit. Yeah, exactly. It's like the opening image.
The perfect picture to start this, then.
I got shit on my mind.
My Sock Summer, what are you drinking, my friend?
I am starting off tonight with my taste. I have some of the Whiskey Acres, the distillery in DeKalb. It's the distiller's blend. It's a single barrel. It's 120 proof, and I think I put 3 shots in there. So that should get me through the night. So,
oh, dear.
We're hoping that's it. If you see me reach for another bottle, you know that I'm going to have troubles tomorrow.
Let's switch to a live ad read. Second ad read live.
Yeah,
let's go back to it.
I don't know.
Old school.
There's definitely a word that I need to say in my my closing arguments of this, and it's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting at the end of this thing. So be ready. I'm sure I'll hear about it from a certain person. We'll see. Chorizo, what are you drinking tonight, buddy?
Oh man, so I'm getting the weekend started, man. We're got a home weekend.
It's gonna be great.
I got
yes, sir.
This is new for. I don't think it's new.
What the fuck is that?
It's Working Man from Rev.
Oh,
and
Working. It looked like a baseball player on there.
It's not. It's a guy with like a wrench. He's got that's a monkey wrench. That's not a baseball.
He's a wrench ball player. MSS. How dare you miss that?
He's training for dodgeball. He's training for dodgeball right now.
You can hit a ball with a wrench. You can hit a ball with a bat, motherfucker.
Catches a hula.
That's what I hear. Yes.
It looked good. I didn't even notice till I left. It's only like a 3.8%.
Oh, nice.
So if I get drunk on this, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like
you had 27.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. That's kind of a pussy beer you're drinking right there, Treasy. I'm not trying to call you out or anything, but it's early in the show. You could use a little pick me up. Maybe you do a few shots first ad read.
You have no idea how much I drank today,
or how much glue you sniffed. We don't know. You could have done all sorts of things.
Heroin, Frank.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
My Sock Summer, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. And boys, as you know, I'm a guy that goes out and I always try to push the limit and try something different, go way beyond like what is possible, right? And if I would have told you that I was going to do this, I know what Loaf would have said. Loaf would have been like, you're a fucking idiot. You shouldn't even do this. There's no way in hell it's going to happen. And Cheesy, you would have just laughed and just been like, you would have done that. As we all know, this weekend, Exotica is in town.
Oh, no.
We didn't all know that, actually, MSS, but thanks for letting us know.
We brought this up.
No clue.
It was brought up on the internet. It's on the internet. I know you're not.
Okay.
Listen, Loaf, you're
I
hardly
don't venture on the internet very much.
Hardly on Twitter. I understand why you probably didn't notice. So we talked about this, and I don't know if you guys know, but I wrote this really blog that did really well and continues to do pretty well about Violet Myers being alive or dead. We don't know, right? We didn't know then. So I had to investigate, and it does good numbers, especially post midnight, right? It does really good numbers post midnight. People really like to read it then.
Hello.
So your boy, not only sent a DM to her, which did not even get looked at, did not get opened, did not even touched, right? I'm like, of course that's not going to happen, right? Like, it's probably not going to happen. So I was like, hey, just, hey, we are a Chicago sports related podcast. We have a fun in, time. We just kind of just bullshit, whatnot. One of our biggest blogs is one about your, like, if you were dead or alive, we didn't know. So we wanted you to come through and maybe you could, promote your, thing, your appearance at Exotica.
Your thing.
And so I'm like,
her thing is well promoted on the internet, by the way.
I'm going to send it.
It's hard to find.
It's hard to find. It's not hard to find.
That
I know where it's at. I can find that. I didn't know where Exotica was.
So I sent it to her DMs, and I'm like, this is probably not going to happen. If she doesn't respond right away, like, it's probably not happening because it gets buried, right? Like, she's got probably tons of dick pics to look at. I did not include a picture of my penis.
There's where you failed. BWC.
It doesn't go.
I mean,
what the hell? Why if he had asked us
now
first?
Exactly. He should have asked. Now I can't believe you missed something that easy.
So I'm like, okay, but how would a professional person do this? And it's like, you go to her agency, right? And you send her agent an email or whatever.
Yeah.
Go to the agent page of the models, and there are a ton of people on their roster. None of them have an email address that isn't at Gmail, at Hotmail, at whatever. I don't even know if this is a real agency. Like, I am really confused by this. Like, it is just like, okay, all right, well, maybe whatever. I sent a message to who I
finally got through to someone, Treasy, and this is what happened, right?
I sent the thing out. It like didn't even. I don't know if it got opened or what. Did not get responded to. So, boys, I tried to get Violet Myers to come on the show tonight, and I was gonna send her a link just to the show to see if she just showed up. Maybe I'll do that now while you guys are doing your banter. And
great idea.
Don't pay attention.
Let's see what happens. And but no, I failed. I swung for the fence. Totally struck out. Just like most of our lineup, 4 through 9. So yeah, sorry guys.
I don't know if you swung for the fence. You
just
DM'd a porn star.
hey.
And then he got scared when he saw the agency. He didn't, because it looked sketchy. Well, it's pornography. I mean,
I didn't get scared.
It can be sketchy, like.
I didn't get scared. I just was like, it seems like she seems much more professional than to have a guy with a at Gmail address as her agent. I just thought it was better than that. So
the comments are absolutely
I tried
on fire right now.
I
love it.
We got a couple tricks.
MSS, I love it because you are a shoot kind of guy, and I just love you going for it. It didn't work. It's okay. No problem, baby. I love it.
Didn't work.
I can't wait till he tells us on Saturday, guys. I got Violet Myers coming to the Sunday Soak tomorrow. Got a drink for Drew Bogues. He says, cheers, gents. Nothing better than being a suffering White Sox fan than doing it with good peeps. Cheers, my bud.
Cheers, Drew.
All right, we got John Nava. He says,
guy.
cheers, amigos. Got my new 108ing shirt last week, and I love it. Cheers, bud.
John, bless up, my friend.
And everyone that got those, appreciate you guys. No one emailed me and harassed me and they're like, where the fuck is my shit? I pre-ordered 4 weeks ago. I appreciate everyone giving me time to get that all out to you. So appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Beef, what's on your mind tonight?
It's a bit of a somber day because Orenthal James Simpson, better known as OJ, passed away, 76 years old. What a wild person in our lifetimes, and kind of the memories. I was talking to my boss today, and he said that he was having a discussion with his son, and his son was like, you've had so many crazy things happen in your life. He's like, us younger people, we basically just had COVID, where you guys have had 9/11, and you had Gulf War, where you watch the war on TV, and then all this OJ stuff. And I put out on Twitter that, like, the Bronco chase was on my 16th birthday. It was fucking split screen. It was Knicks and Rockets finals in one corner, and the other corner was the white Bronco, OJ, Al Cowlings, and 17,000 policemen, chasing him up the freeway. And my question for you guys is: what do you remember about both the original happenings, the trial, kind of everything there? Because for me, this is like a real throwback to that period in time of our life.
So what I remember is one thing I remember a lot of it because I was like 14. So this was just like, and like, there's nothing to do when you're 14 and the internet doesn't exist. So like, and there's like 12 channels, right? Like
I was going to say, how many channels
watchable.
did you have? Like
we had cable at that point, I think, but like even then, cable sucked. There's like it does now. There's like 3 shows you watch over and over.
It's true. MTV was still playing videos because I was watching MTV, but they broke in to it while we were watching videos on MTV.
But what I remember distinctly about it, it was like the first thing that I remember that was like pop culture that every comedian was doing bits about. And like you would watch a comedy like I remember a Dana Carvey like comedy special. The last 30 minutes is just OJ trial. He's just doing like he's just going through the whole trial as his comedy special, and it's like this, like, who gives a fuck 10 years from now, right? Like this is like this is just going to be like you had to be at this point in time.
It's a period piece
to get this.
Yes, absolutely.
And like, but that was everywhere. That was absolutely everywhere. Every comedian had a take. Every comedian was doing a thing on just this, which was a single happening in our lives, and it was like. It was weird. It was like the first thing that I could remember that was like that.
Oh, absolutely the truth there. Treasy, do you remember, I saw a lot of people posting, oh, we were watching it in school, all this stuff. Do you remember at De La Salle, the verdict? Do you remember what they did for the verdict?
I remember I remember the teachers left the room.
Correct, yes.
Which seemed insane. But then you realize, like, as an adult, you're like, yeah, they just all went to watch it. Like,
correct. They all went to watch it. We didn't have smartphones or nothing, so we don't know. But we know it's going down. Teachers all fucking leave. They had put it on lockdown. They did not want the students to know. Now, luckily, I had a teacher who told us immediately. They were like, so what happened? He said, oh, he got off. Because they were worried because De La Salle was, in 1995, and still is, a very racially diverse school. But there was no chance of anything happening. Like it was ridiculous for them to think that. At least as students, I was like, "There's no way, no one's gonna be going crazy with this." But
Beef, I remember that distinctly too because my teacher did not tell me that, and I think it was like I don't remember which of your buddies it was that I like ran into the hall and I was like, "Man, do you know what happened yet?" And he's like, "Yeah, our teacher told us." I was like, "Son of a bitch." But yeah, I mean, like I think that was it. Like as the classes emptied out after that period, like everybody found out, and then everybody was kind of unsurprised as the rest of the whole fucking country was.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was on the dorm floor freshman year at NIU, and that was like we were also tense. We were like, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, but there was like absolutely no reaction whatsoever. And like I remember asking somebody, Levis, on our floor, I was like, Levis, man, what do you think about this? And he's like, man, fuck that motherfucker. I don't give 2 shits about him. He's like, I'm out of that shit. He's like, I'm here, to do my thing and not worry about any of that stuff. We're like, okay. And it was such a non-issue. I mean, it like really was. Like, I feel like there wasn't like a big. Like I don't remember anyone going crazy because everyone knew he was guilty, and it was just like, oh, he got off, and it just gives you that great like handle. You're just like, oh yeah, well he's innocent, like he wasn't found guilty. Yeah, okay, so OJ wasn't either, and then OJ wrote a book about how if I did do it, this is how I would have done it.
I would do it,
and he still wasn't even in trouble.
I was gonna say like. It was the first piece of real reality TV because people were tuning into the shit every single fucking day. And if you didn't have a chance to watch it on the nightly news, you were fucking catching up to it. But you're right, MSS. After OJ gets off, he cannot stop being totally fucking ridiculous until he gets thrown in the clink for some other shit later on. Like, he's just being out there and being insane the entire time. And it's like writing books. And I remember he was on that call-in show, Treasy. We would always replay the thing where one guy called in. He's like, oh, Juice, man, I loved you with the Niners. And he's like, oh, thanks, buddy. Whatever. He goes, did you kill Bill Walsh? Bill Walsh just died.
Why he did that show, he did like a call-in show, and they must have, like, I'm sure they had producers screening the calls, but everybody could get past that, right? And like every call was a disaster. And it's like, why even try to do this? This is the most ridiculous thing ever.
John Carney brings it up. Norm Macdonald risked it all to keep dunking on OJ. Treasy, do you wish Norm Macdonald was around today just to have one last try, one victory lap for himself?
I mean, that was the thing. Like, that's the guy that got I think I might have seen Norm Macdonald posted more than OJ Simpson today. Because like he lost his job because of it. Like it's like everybody remembers that about Saturday Night Live of that era, and like this is like it's one of the most memorable things, one of the funniest things on there. The jokes that he was delivering, even the ones that didn't land, were insane, and they fired his ass for it.
Well, it's because
it's just wild.
It was OJ's buddy or OJ's friend was on the board at ABC or NBC, and he was like, "Don't do that. Like, stop." And he's like, "I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop." And especially now that you told me to stop, I'm not gonna stop. It also birthed a great the chase birthed one of the greatest like prank phone calls on the Howard Stern show, where there's got a guy who's pretending he's in the back of a news van across the street using a very, very, very racist voice. I'm not even gonna do it because I'll be in trouble. But at the end he goes, "And a baba booey to all y'all," or something like that. And so Peter Jennings is like going, "And so hey, we just heard from, you know," I can't remember what the guy's name, but it was really bad. And he's like in the back of the car, and he's like, "Peter, this is Al Michaels. That man said something very much at the end of the call that signals a popular radio host. So that little call was farcical. It was a farcical call. Just avoid that. That was not a real call." And it's like, it was nuts. Like this is crazy. It's a big thing. That was fun.
Couple other things. One, my wife put it out there on Twitter. My father-in-law, years later, he played golf in the morning and met OJ on the golf course, right? He wasn't playing golf with him, but he happened to cross paths or whatever. Then he had a dinner that night in a different city. It was in New York City, and Marsha Clark was at the dinner. He met them, those two people on the same day in different fucking cities.
Yeah,
kind of years later. And then Tim Meadows did the worst, best OJ ever. He looked nothing like OJ. He didn't act anything like OJ, but he was always OJ every time they did a goddamn skit, right?
But I did it. I did it. Teleprompter. Legendary.
I did put out a poll with our fans to see who they thought was the biggest.
This is such shit.
OJ fan, and they thought it was me for some reason. I don't know why they thought I would be the biggest OJ fan. I voted Treasy just because I know how much you love Nordberg and Naked Gun. So I don't think it's me. I think it's more than likely Treasy, but the fans thought it was old Beefloaf. So
it's Treasy.
Whatever.
I would guess it's probably me. I'm not a fan.
Not the murdering part. Not the murdering part.
Let's just be clear.
The non-murdering part is
not
what
a
we're
fan of the
talking
murder.
Is the Naked Gun OJ or the football player?
People coming forward saying they voted MSS.
Football
I'm
player
sure they did. That's horrible. I don't even like football. Fuck you.
It's good Naked Gun.
Yeah, it was good.
There's no question.
I didn't read if I did it. I gotta admit.
Not yet. It's on the shelf behind you. I can see it back there.
It is back here. It's just waiting. I'm waiting for the audio version.
You've been too busy.
No, I don't know, but apparently people think I am an OJ fan because I was in a meeting today, so we had like kind of a big meeting for like our larger team. I was one of the presenters, so me and my boss are presenting for this whole time, and like at the same time I start seeing people look at their phones. My phone is like buzzing in my pants.
Oh,
and then
mercy.
Yeah,
all right then.
And then like we finished the meeting, and I look at my phone, and no less than 10 people messaged me to tell me that OJ died. Like
he was a personal friend of yours.
Even fucking Stacey Dash knew. I mean, like it was fucking. It was crazy just how many people felt the need to tell me, and I'm like, I like show my boss my phone. I'm like, I don't feel a little weird about myself right now that this many people thought I should know. And he's like, oh my God, so many people messaged me.
I had zero texts of people telling me that OJ died.
Only our dad reached out.
I had
only dad reached out. Treasy was fucking great. I said, they got Nerdberg. Treasy, how you doing today, my friend?
That's funny.
Oh man, I'm doing good. And the other night, I'm sitting around, and I get a message from one of you. I think it might have been Polish with extra onions, and he's like, "Are you guys watch? It was MSS.
It was me.
Like, are you guys watching this Slim Mick thing?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?" So I put it on on the YouTube, and they're on this. It was Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show.
Yeah,
it's a 16-inch softball podcast.
Yes.
Like this exists, and it's awesome.
It was hilarious.
But Slim Mick is on there, and what I loved, and what I think we forget about sometimes is that we're Southside Chicago guys. You have to bust people's balls. Like there's just no other way to be a friend with someone other than to bust their balls incessantly. And so they give Slim Mick this rapid fire at the end where they just start naming softball players.
For 45 minutes.
Maybe, yeah, it was the least rapid of rapid fires ever. But I probably only know like 2 or 3 of the guys that they were actually talking about. But usually when you get something like this, it's like, oh, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you talk about this guy? And it's like, oh, man, what a great guy, or whatever. No. Slim Mick is not going to do this. He's they said the one guy goes, worst fucking asshole I know. He's like, I don't know why anyone has him on a team. Who needs a 300-pound shortstop? He's going crazy. But even the guys where I was like, oh, he's saying something really nice. He's like talking about this guy, and he's like, no one has done more for softball than this guy in Chicago. No one would no one would think to do more than even what this guy, has done. And it's like, just like this legend in 16-inch softball, and like helps out so much stuff. And like, he ends it with, and fuck that guy. I never want to talk to him again in my whole life. And I was like, where did that come from?
A lot of bridges burnt.
I feel like we need to incorporate that in the show more.
I don't know. It's a great idea. I'm game. I'll go first.
All right.
Listen, none of us have played 187 games of softball with like 20,000 people. And only Mick can hold claim to that. Like he's been on a softball field apparently for 30 straight years.
Yeah.
His shoulder shows it. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I liked watching it, and they had a good audience for such a a very, very narrow topic. They had so many people in there, and just people busting the hell out of Mick too. Like he went and took a piss and was gone for less than a minute, and everyone was like, that motherfucker did not wash his hands. Of course, we're like, of course he didn't wash his hands. And he's just like pounding beers straight into the camera.
He took a bathroom break during rapid fire. Rapid fire. He went and took a bathroom break.
He's like, I got a 46-year-old bladder. Danny Miller's in the comments. He says the 300-pound asshole is his cousin.
Wait, is it Danny's cousin?
Yeah,
because it's not Mick's.
No. It's not Mickey's cousin for sure. I know
41 is Mick's cousin.
41 is Mickey's cousin.
That story was great too.
Well, and then even the story wasn't willing to tell is an all-time great story.
You know what? We should have him on to tell that story.
The
porta potty story. There's a porta potty story. We need to maybe we get him in the soak and we'll have him tell it in the soak. That's a good place because you need to be able to wash yourself off as you hear that.
When you hear that,
God. Good Lord.
White Sox summer, man. Why don't you pay some bills?
Let's do it. Hey, White Sox fans, welcome back to the Shrimp Side. We know you've been waiting for the season to start, and we're excited to have you back. Whether you're coming to a game or just passing by, make sure to stop at Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp on Canal Street. We're open 24 hours a day, ready to serve you delicious seafood that will satisfy your hunger. Whether you're craving mouth-watering shrimp, flaky fish, or even crispy frog legs, we've got you covered. So before the game, during the game, or after the game, come to Lawrence's for a meal that will hit the spot. Stop by one of our 4 locations today or visit our website at chicagoshrimp.com to place an order for pickup or delivery. Come see why Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp has been serving up the seafood you crave since 1950. That's some groovy.
I crushed some of that the other night, man.
I saw that. You got a nice big old bag of that shit.
Don't sleep on the frog legs. They're fucking awesome.
They're good.
You've been a big frog leg guy since we was kids.
My whole life. Just a general frog guy.
But legs even more so.
But legs I'll eat. But I like the frog in general. Let's get a couple drinks here. Aloha, Mr. Han says, here's to MSS being willing to venture out and do something different, even though it is kind of creepy and weird.
It is not.
Cheers, Mr. Cheers. Thank you.
I'll show you creepy and weird later. Don't worry.
Hello.
Daniel Pierce says, Jerry owns no softball team. Don't let anyone gaslight you, folks.
Cheers, Daniel.
Cheers. Thanks, Dan.
All right, guys. I think it's been a little bit of a it's been a little bit of a rough ride lately, but I think we still got to do some White Sox talk.
Oh, yeah. Look at that guy. Still not hurt. Paul Young. That's great.
And so we in a season like this, you got to come up with different stuff to talk about, right? Because there's not necessarily the normal things that you would talk about. And so one thing that I was batting around, I threw it at Beef, and Beef kind of liked it, and we're like, let's try it on the show. This will be recurring.
Yes.
Because that's how this season's going. Well, for this week, we're going to go to May 1st. We're going to go to May 1st, and we're going to play which White Sox won't be here on May 1st. Current guys.
Could be for any reason, but yeah.
Current guys. And I'll give you an example. I'll go first, so I can give you an example.
Yeah, sounds good.
You better not take mine, because I have one.
I don't think I'm going to take yours, because I think this is one that people are not really expecting, but are going to be real mad when it happens. And that's Corey Lee.
Okay.
So Corey Lee's actually playing all right, and Martin Maldonado, like, people are very upset about him, and I get, there's intangible stuff that he's doing.
Yep.
They're not going to get rid of Maldonado.
No.
But Max Stassi's already doing his rehab games. He's already played 2-3 games down in Charlotte. They can't keep him down there forever. There's a time limit that you have on this. So in the next couple weeks, Stassi's going to be back, and they're going to go, let's get Corey Lee as many at bats as we can down there. See if this keeps going, and people are going to be fucking furious. So
yes,
I'm not looking forward to the fury, but I think it's going to happen. I think that Corey Lee is going to, by May 1st, Corey Lee is not on the White Sox team, barring a Stassi re-injury or Maldonado becoming Jake Taylor as he's planning to and just starts coaching the team.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably a good call. I'll go next.
I was just going to say, sorry, I was drinking.
Right now,
important things to do.
This guy owns a record of 1 loss with a 9 ERA, not 0.9, a 9 ERA through 4 innings of work in 5 games. He's a former Long Beach dirtbag. He is the back tat master, Brian Shaw, folks. He will be gone come May 1st. He's not. You got to get rid of him. He's not good. And
I had Shaw as a backup too, one that might go, and it's one of those things where I put my stink on him, which hurts him.
Right.
Yeah, it sure does.
But also you look at the guys that have options to go to the minors, with the exception of Jared Schuster. Everybody that has options to go to the minors has been decent or good, and so someone's got to go.
Yeah.
It's already one of the bullpen guys has to go because they're going to add a 5th starter at some point.
Yeah.
They're not going to just keep pulling out Tanner Banks, and Clevenger will be ready at some point, probably around May 1st. So, yeah, I could see Shaw. Beef, who do you got?
My original answer was in lockstep with you, Treasy. It was the answer that'll piss the most people off was Corey Lee, because people are falling in love with him after 13 plate appearances. Oh man, this guy's fucking AJ Pierzynski after 13 good plate appearances.
Fixed it.
They forgot that last year he had one more hit than we had in the second half. I don't know what he was out there doing. And it's he's healthy now. He's healthy. Everyone always believes, he was nursing a thing, and now the guy's perfect. Whatever. Same thing with the Gavin Sheets thing. But I think it's going to be your guy in the bullpen, who you were very hopeful for, Treasy. Oh, and that's Davy Garcia. He did have a clean inning yesterday, but it's the only clean thing he's done all year. He has been getting lit the fuck up.
Stinky.
And people are getting a little tired with the bullpen. I've heard people MSS is saying, calling out Brian Shaw, wanted to get rid of the fucking him. People want to get rid of Tim Hill. I don't think they're going to have that short of a leash on a Tim Hill. Dominic Leone's probably treading water out there too. I just feel like when you have a bullpen like this, with the exception of the guys who've been mainstays like a Kopech or younger guys like Jordan Leisure or the Brebbias of the world that you sign, everyone is available to be cut, and some random guy may come up out of the minors. And so I just think Davey Garcia, and he's a slight guy. He kind of doesn't really have anything working for him right now other than decent spring training. So he feels like a guy you're just going to be like, all right, you're on your 5th team or whatever it is. You had prospect pedigree. Well, we'll see you later. Right? That's for me. Yeah, that's the guy.
He's got to have a real good next 2 weeks to be on a major league team. Yep. Because, like, and that's the thing, too. Like, you're getting cut from the bullpen of the White Sox right now. It's the end of the road. Motherfucker, this is like
they're not bringing it back.
You better be ready to play for the Savannah Bananas because, like, do you know how to walk on stilts? Because, like,
I was gonna say you better learn Korean, motherfucker.
When's the last time you breathed flames and tried to hit a baseball?
Exactly, man.
You can learn. And we have a job for you.
Man, SPF says Brian Shaw pitches every game. Deal with it. Yeah, SPF, it would hurt me if he left. It would really hurt me. I'm sad MSS said that, but a lot of people are saying it.
Dude,
well, I got the good K Lee video now too, and we're gonna lose that. We're gonna be.
Well, he's not gonna be gone forever. He'll be back. You know.
We'll have to watch Charlotte Knights games to be able to use it.
I mean, Max Stassy's hips can't stay in place that long. Like he'll be up there for a little bit, but he ain't gonna be here for the long haul.
I think there is going to be at some point this year a Maldonado. Like, oh man, he is so hurt. He is so hurt. You cannot believe it. Like we're going to get a phantom injury out of Maldonado, I'm sure.
Danny Miller says, Tim Hill, anybody? Yeah, Tim Hill's been rough. Tim Hill's also been kind of put in spots that were dumb for him to be in. And so I think that they won't go away from him so quick. Maybe when we do this for June 1st, Tim Hill will be on the list for one of us, probably.
Yeah, I mean, like, his usage has been poor because like they're like no way would they pinch hit that really good right-handed hitter right now for this guy that can't hit that's left-handed. We'll put Tim Hill in. What's the worst that could happen?
Oh, they pinch hit him and he gets lit up. Great.
Now, hey, signing a lefty specialist, that's maybe, that's not the game anymore. But at the same time, you can find ways to use him properly, especially when you have multiple other left-handed pitchers.
So Mrs. Beef says, I haven't heard of 90% of the roster. Yeah, that's everyone, basically. We only go and learn the names just so we can do the show. We never even see them play.
That's why a segment like this could work, because there's easily 3 guys. We didn't run over each other at all on this.
They all look similar.
We could have gone around 3 times and done this.
Wilson was out there, and I was like, hey, wait a second.
He's pitching good, though. He's pitching good.
He looks like Bummer. He does.
He's a red beard.
Wait a second.
One minor difference, Treasy. One minor difference, right?
What kind of pitcher are you?
Right-handed.
Right-handed. But I got to say, like, so far so good on Steven Wilson. I will say it.
He's been good.
Because I was really down on it. I was like, no. You can't have a guy that just throws fly balls. But the contact has been so shitty off of him that I'm like, okay, maybe it's what we were sold. But
he might be the first known flippable asset on the roster right here.
Well,
it might be. We'll get there later.
Carried away. Let's not get carried away because we do have the Reds coming to town this weekend.
They love hitting fly balls. Once they go out of the park.
There's possibilities that we see like 15, 20 runs put up on the Sox in one game this weekend.
I look forward
to it. Especially like Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be warm.
Let's do it Saturday so we can get lit up.
My God. I'm nervous. Which day is Flexen pitching?
Friday. He pitches tomorrow.
Because he was on my list too.
Crochet is Saturday.
Flexen was on my list too. He had a nice start though. Nice-ish start the other day.
Yeah, Elite Cruz will hit one out of the stadium. Quite possible.
Probably. Yes.
Yeah. And hopefully they don't hit one back from 42nd and Wells. Then we'll be safe. You got to be careful.
I just love that my Sox Summer is at a rave at this point. He's like,
I've plays with all his effects and designs.
I've had enough of your White Sox talk. We're 6 minutes into it.
I got some fans that probably have to go to bed soon that are requesting things, and I do those things.
Who cares?
So, I know you. I care. I care about the fans. Okay, take it easy. How it goes.
Right. Well, let's do like maybe just a little bit more White Sox talk here. Beef, you got a new segment too. You got a new segment you want to try out. Let's try it out.
Well, okay. So we've been discussing, lamenting on Twitter, if you will, the White Sox offense and how bad it's been, and they've been shut out 4 times. And they're the worst offense basically in MLB. Now, they had a couple games where they bounced back. They had 5 runs on Tuesday night, and they had 6 runs on Wednesday night. They didn't get the win on Wednesday. But still, it's going to be a struggle the rest of the way. They lost their top 3 bats as of right now. There's really no reinforcements coming. So my thought was we do a segment and find out whether you think the White Sox are more likely to score or something else. And I'll give a quick example. I'll put this image up on the screen. Is it more likely the White Sox will score or Tony Snell on February 24th, 2017 against the Jazz? And if you're watching the image up on the YouTube screen, that's the infamous game where he had 28 points, or 28 minutes, no points, no rebounds, no assists, no blocks, no steals. Nothing, absolutely fucking nothing, no scoring for Tony Snell whatsoever. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys to make the decision on whether the White Sox will score or this thing that I decide to put up there will score. Everyone ready for that? You guys ready?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
No, it's not cringe zone, Billy White. Shut up. Well, you got a question?
I'm gonna pretend like I understand what we're doing, and then I'm just gonna go with that.
So one of two things are gonna score.
Pick either the White Sox or
something else. Something else I will name each time.
So does Tony Snell doesn't score for the first 24 minutes of the game or something? Correct.
You're taking this way too literally.
Okay.
Who's more likely to score?
Who's more likely to score?
All right.
Who's more likely to score, the White Sox or Beavis and Butthead? Treasy, what do you think? White Sox or Beavis and Butthead more likely to score?
I mean, it's got to be the White Sox. It's got to be the White Sox. I mean, what is it? Daria, she's not having their shit. And they don't have any money. If they had money, I could see a scoring opportunity. But because they're broke, they look like they do. Yeah,
smell like they do probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I mean, we all grew up with dudes that looked exactly like these guys. We know what happened with them. They didn't score, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the White Sox on this one.
MSS.
I'm gonna go with Beavis and Butthead, not just to be contrarian, not just because of that.
I love it.
It's because I grew up with people that were like Beavis and Butthead, and they did get ass. There are girls that are willing to deal it out to guys like this every so often. And maybe if they get their hands on some MGD. Maybe a couple packs of cigarettes. Who knows? They could be getting some ass. I'm gonna go with these guys over the White Sox. I'll go with Beavis and Butthead over the White Sox to score.
Okay, I respect that. You're not feeling Robbie Grossman hitting first or Andrew Benintendi hitting fifth, and maybe you don't think Gavin Sheets' hot streak will continue. So I do
like Robbie Grossman. I get him confused with Rex Grossman, but I like Robbie Grossman.
Oh yeah, they're exactly the same. All right, next up,
they're related.
Who's more likely to score, the White Sox or any batter Oral Hershiser faced in September of 1988? Treasy.
I mean, it's got to be the White Sox, and it's only because they'll face at least every pitcher worse than what that run was like.
Yeah.
So I think it would I can't see them having that time period that we're talking about. The Sox would score a couple runs in there. They would find some relief pitcher that throws slow enough for these guys to hit the ball, and they would score one run. One run though. They win by one.
That's it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I can't bet against Oral Hershiser. I mean, my God, especially the first year I'm collecting baseball cards and this guy's just going fucking bananas. Everyone wanted this goofy ass white dude's card. And it's I'm gonna take the White Sox.
I think it's a smart choice. Tommy Lasorda wrecked his fucking arm that year. All right, who's more likely to score, the White Sox or Walter Payton in Super Bowl 20? White Sox summer. Is that a low blow? I'm sorry. Is that a low blow right there?
That's bad. Walter didn't care about scoring.
He did. He did care about scoring.
No. Everyone tells me he did not care. He would rather his fat friend have his only
William Perry.
His one thing he can still hang his hat on, his ginormous hat. I gotta go with I don't know how you forget your best running back in the Super Bowl, and just be like, you know what? And fuck, we just forgot to give Walter the ball to score. But we definitely made sure that fucking. And I'm gonna take Walter Payton. I don't think you could. I don't think.
I'm also
could do it twice.
I'm also going Walter, and here's why. Because there is a much higher likelihood that Mike Ditka has to go take a shit and break one of the toilets in the Superdome.
Allegedly, he just pissed. He just pissed, allegedly. You killed him a suspect.
Oh, look at me.
And there is that a pitcher would give up a run to the White Sox. So, I'm going Walter Payton. Ditka's in the bathroom shitting his brains out and doesn't put in the fridge. So he's easy Walter on this one.
Coach Ryan is like, go ahead and run it in, Walter.
Sweet.
And he's like, hey, I'm a genius.
Yeah, Buddy Ryan will give it.
Buddy Ryan would have went in there and blocked for fucking Peyton on that one.
Love it. Next up, who's more likely to score, the White Sox or Scotty from Boogie Nights?
Oh, man, baby.
My Sox Summer. I know you're a big fan of Boogie Nights. Who's
I'm a
more
huge
likely to
fan.
score, the White Sox or Scotty from Boogie Nights?
I'm going to go, unfortunately, I'm going to go with the White Sox because Scotty was barking up every wrong tree. Scotty would have been fine had he gone into the trees that he should be hanging in, right? Like he was trying to go, he was going outside the box, and it's something that you should not go outside the box. You need to stick, with people that are probably into you.
He didn't seem like a box guy at all, actually.
Just saying.
Allegedly.
I think the Sox could score better just because Scotty's game plan is way wrong, and even though Pedro doesn't have a very good game plan either, he could fuck up once and maybe make it happen. I don't think Scotty could do it. So,
All right, look,
Tracy.
it's Scotty. It's got to be Scotty.
All right.
No.
He works in an industry that is all fucking. He accidentally fucked. Like he just he's just like going to the bathroom and it's like, oh shit, that wasn't a urinal. What's up, buddy? Like that, like it is that easy for him to just run into some ass. So like I'm gonna go with Scotty.
Dude. Wow, that's huge.
Scotty scores.
Scotty's going after the number one porn star of his era that's pounding vag.
MSS.
Scotty's
MSS.
like, I'm going to try to make out with you and see what happens.
MSS,
And
that
come
guy's
on.
dick don't work no more. He's gonna move on. So Scotty's fine. Scotty's rolling in it now. He's up by 57 runs on the Sox.
White Sox.
He's rolling in his grave right now, but hey.
Too soon.
Poor guy.
Oh, we just did a whole segment on
Been over a decade.
whole segment on OJ who died today, and you're like, oh, too soon on the Philip Seymour Hoffman.
That's different. A rental's a different case. All right, how dare you? Fuck you guys.
He was a murderer, Teresi. It's fine. He didn't eat anybody. He's fine.
He didn't eat anybody. We don't know if he ate anyone. We just never.
That's true. That's true.
If anyone knew
He
MSS,
was never charged with eating.
It was never charged with eating anyone. It was never on. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad you cleared that up. I don't want our attorneys in the comments getting
God
upset.
forbid.
All right, next up, who's more likely to score, the White Sox or 1980s and 1990s AC Green,
Man.
Teresa E?
All right. This is a low blow. All right.
What's all about this?
So it's the Sox. It's the Sox are more likely to score, but it's AC's choice. All right. Leave the motherfucker alone. All right. He chose not to score. All right. Which, you know what? In those days in LA, probably smart for living a long time.
Yeah.
I mean,
You don't want to get the AIDS on his lips. I know. That's
dude, how big do you think his smile was when Magic was like, "Yo, I got the AIDS"? And like AC.
Well,
Green's
first
like,
of all,
exactly,
first of all, Magic didn't say that, and then second, I'm sure AC was not happy about it.
I didn't think it was, but he's also like, hey, I was
thought
probably
he'd get
making
more
the
playing
right
time. That's
decisions.
what I was
I was
supposed to
making
say.
the right decisions and not sticking my dick in everything that moved. Like
MSS.
Magic was.
What do you think here? Who scores, the White Sox or AC Green? In the 80s
It's
and
hard to
90s?
go against a guy that on the court could score at will, but like behind the scenes did not want to score at all until he was locked up in a really good religious marriage. So I'm gonna have to go with the Sox too, just because the AC is just trying not to do it.
You know what we got to mention a little bit?
What?
Hakeem's mustache back there.
Power stash.
I forgot that era of
my God.
Hakeem.
Fucking right, baby. Early Hakeem. I can't
Who's
believe
the guy who were right?
I can't believe both of you guys believe the bullshit story that AC Green was actually a virgin. I always thought that was full of shit. That's like Tim Tebow. Oh yeah, Tim Tebow's a virgin, and you see his girlfriend. You're like, give me a fucking break. This guy ain't no virgin. Like, I don't believe it. I don't believe AC Green. I don't believe Tim Tebow. These guys ain't virgins. They're lying to us.
I don't know if I believe Tim Tebow, but I will believe anything that AC Green tells me. All right.
Sammy, you don't know that no one's ever said that. You don't know. You don't know all the people that had AIDS. So shut the fuck up.
Jesus.
Okay?
Don't try and win this argument.
So I was only going to do 5, but I put one bonus one in here, so I figured we'll do one last one. Who is more likely to score, the White Sox or 19-year-old Treasy E? My Sox summer, I'd like you to go for. Look at those teeth on Treasy. Go ahead. You go first.
Treasy E is falling into vagina. Like, I'm surprised he's not in a vagina in this picture right now. This is just, especially if he's like, now listen, Loaf, you're too close with the wife beater on like that. He's probably not getting laid. But if he's away from you and he's just hanging out with Polish, he's getting laid because Polish is too fat. They want like, hey, give me the skinny Mexican kid. Yeah, let's fuck. Yep. Plus, he's down to do some drugs. Yeah.
Here's here's the problem with 19-year-old Treasy. So you've probably you're familiar with the Black Crows. You know the brothers Robinson, and they talk about it in a thing, and it's very similar between me and Beef. Like Rich Robinson was like, man, I want the ladies. I want to meet all the ladies, and I want to that's the part of the rock star life he liked. And then this version of Treasy was very much about partying. It was.
You were drugs in this. You are drugs in this picture. You are 100% drugs in this picture.
You 100% look.
Did you ever see Up and
right?
Smoke?
Look at that look.
Those sideburns scream, I will do all your drugs.
Did you ever see Up and Smoke when they make the whole van out of weed? That's me in this picture. I'm 100% weed there. Polish with extra onions could have smoked me in this picture.
Polish with extra onions is 100% eating food there. And this is Beef says Polish is going to kill you, Beef. Yeah, he probably will if he ever watches this. I
doesn't watch this.
It. And then Father Zoe says, it looks like Treasy just sold Beef drugs and ripped him off. That would have been
No. Beef's the muscle. Beef's the muscle in
Timothy Maher says, Treasy, the AC Green of 1990s Bridgeport.
No. Definitely not, because it was not by choice.
That's it. That's all I got on this.
I will say, out of the 3 guys in that picture, though, if we're trying to guess, it's Polish. Even as chunky as he was in that picture, Polish was always
he did well for
handsome.
himself. Yeah.
His confidence off the charts.
That's
off
right,
the charts confidence from that man, and that sells. That sells. There's really good. Question. Trust me.
All right,
a guy that
Beef. I like that. I thought that was fun.
I seem to have a good time with it. So
I didn't need AC Green to get railroaded there, but I did need.
Billy Wire says Treasy's still dreaming of a Hakeem's mustache on his instrument. See, this is the commentary I wanted to come out of this segment.
Piccolo.
I am gonna dream of that. Not the whole part you put there, but at least his mustache. But it's time for more White Sox talk. We cannot stop talking about the White Sox.
Use a graphic for every fucking segment. Yes.
We cannot. That's a different graphic.
I love it. No, I said we're using a graphic. I didn't say the same graphic. I said a graphic. Love it.
I want to talk more White Sox. I love the White Sox. I want to talk about them. All right.
Yes, I love it.
And there was something that
sounds
actually good the other night, which was Michael Kopech going 2 innings, and he looked good. And of course, because this is what we do as White Sox fans, everyone fucking way overreacted to it. People already got him on the trade block.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, what teams need a closer? And it's like
Phillies.
It's like, dude, let's calm down for a minute. So I got some questions. Beef, I know you're hot to trade him, and I get it, but I want to understand a few things about him, because right now he's throwing right around 80% fastballs. Can he sustain what he's doing with a mostly fastball arsenal, like Chris Ray level fastball arsenal?
That's a good question, because it's rare for someone to throw the same pitch. You're Mariano Rivera throwing, but it's rare for someone to just lean on that one pitch all the time. He probably could mix the slider in a little more. He didn't need to on Tuesday night, because there was no one who was a major threat other than even Jose Ramirez was having a hard time with the fastballs there. It's the easiest pitch on your arm to throw, obviously, the fastball, as opposed to throwing the other pitches that require a little more torque. And my thought would be yes, but he's probably not always going to have 101 when he goes out there. I don't know. And that'll depend a lot on his effectiveness, right? When he's at 99, 100, 101, I mean, good fucking luck hitting that thing at the top of the zone, right? Kind of right at the letters there. It takes a special bat to be able to turn that around. As long as he stays relatively in the strike zone, he's going to be unhittable.
To your point, though, when we talk about that, if you look at the days that he's pitched so far, and he's been pitching more than one inning almost every time he's gone.
Yeah.
And I know that there's been kind of off days and there was a rain out and thing. So, he's not pitched back-to-back days yet. And, in fact, they're giving him a few days most of the time in between there. How often can he actually pitch?
That's a good question. They didn't try it last night. They had the opportunity. The 10th inning, they got the lead. They could have used Kopech. Now, the night before, he threw the 2 innings, like we mentioned, but he only threw 24 pitches. So it wasn't like it was a real stretch out outing. It wasn't like the save against Atlanta, where it was almost like 40 pitches or whatever. You could say, okay, we definitely don't want to try him the next day. I was surprised they didn't at least test it just to see. I'm not sure why they chose not to. But my guess is the usage pattern will not be back-to-back days, especially if they're going to say you're going to throw the 2 innings. You're going to kind of be like, hey, you're coming in the 8th and kind of closing the whole thing out there. And it's probably not going to be that big of a concern because they won't have that many leads. But you'd still like to see it just from the standpoint of what can the guy do? Let's push it a little bit right now when we're looking at the fact that he looks outstanding in these outings and the fastball's that tough.
MSS, to that point, we talked about this last year, when we were talking about maybe we should just pitch him once a week, and let's just let him do that because he was good after all that rest. Do you worry if they keep pitching him in these high leverage, multiple inning things that he's gonna burn out?
No, I don't think he will. And I think what we saw the other night was him actually starting to understand what his job is when he goes out there on the mound. I think he was confused at the beginning. I think going from a starting pitcher, thinking, hey, I need to save some energy to go later, right? And now I think he's figured it out. I'm not going later. This is the go. So he's like, my shit is good. And he felt that the other night. It was just going. He was just hitting everything, and he was overpowering guys. And you're like, this is the Michael Kopech that we were promised. This is what we thought he was going to do, but in a starting position. So as in the closing role, why not? If you're only going to throw, it's a Lowe's point. If you're going to throw 24 pitches and you're going to get 2 innings and 24 pitches, first of all, that's fucking amazing for a White Sox pitcher just in general. Okay, so that's great. So you can go ahead and hit the 101. You can hit the fastball. As long as you get your placements on and you're hitting your spots, fucking A right. Do it. One thing I'm concerned about is, people all of a sudden are like, oh, he's fucking awesome. Not just to trade him, but no one is as stupid as us. That might work on a Chris Getz, right? Or one of our guys. Hey, this guy's good. Get him. And ignore all of the other data from the past 2 years where it's it hasn't been good. So let's give it a chance, All-Star break, if he's still firing like this, maybe you'll see some people look into it. But then again, you're going to trade the one guy that keep working.
If you keep this going, I agree that there will be a lot of people sniffing around. Though one thing you touched on, and Beef, I'll ask you this question, is they're preaching efficiency now of these pitchers. He did have the game the other night where he 2 innings, 24 pitches. But despite that great outing, or 12 pitches per inning, he's still at 135 pitches over just 7 1/3. And he's got 5 or 6 walks already. Is he capable of being an efficient pitcher, or should they just deal with the fact that when he goes, he might get up to 40 pitches and, then you just put him in an ice bath for 2 days and then resurrect him the next time you need him?
Yeah, I think you just deal with it. I'm going to put his heat, one of his maps up here from Baseball Savant. And you can see, because the velo's so high, it's top of the league, 98%, the K rate, the whiff rate, and all that stuff. He can get away with being a little wilder. He has very poor, walk percentage, and also but it's also hard to hit because of it. So I think it's just going to be max effort at the top of the zone, and you see what you got. And if it leads to a lot of pitches, So what? He's the one guy in this bullpen, and maybe Jordan Leisure has a little bit of this too, that has enough put away stuff where you can say, all right, it doesn't matter if he walks that first guy. He can get out of this jam because he just has the strikeout stuff. You see the maps here of the four seamers. The approach is top of the zone and top of the zone only, basically. And then the slider is the change up to the repertoire there. He's going to throw that slider kind of down and away from lefties there. And that's going to be the approach. This is almost all the pitches. You see, you said 79% Treasy. It's 18.5 for the slider. It's just four-seamer and slider, and I think that's the approach. And yeah, just keep throwing it and throw him an ice bath and then make it work. Because he had the starter length, I think you can reliably go deeper in the pitch count for a single outing. But like you said, I don't know what the rebound's going to be. I don't know what the refractory period actually is for him. And so when it comes to trading him, like they're going to have to show him back-to-back days somewhere because no one's going to give you much if he's not going to.
Do you think that they could potentially have brought him back if he didn't go 2 innings and only went 1 and went 12 and like got 1 and 12?
I would hope so.
Then I would think they might have done it. I think back in like with 2 when he came out for the second inning, I was like, okay, hold on a second, this is insanity. And then he fucking hit it and he did it, and they were like, all right, great, we got out of it. And Pedro's not the guy that really likes to roll the dice. He doesn't really take a lot of chances per se. So he's just like, you know what? Let's put my guy Shaw back in and see if he can do this. He's like, Brian, he showed you up, buddy. You better get in there and do something. And then he's like, Shaw's like, I got nothing. I don't know. Let's get this game.
See you later.
The one thing that's promising to me, and Beef, this is why I asked about the fastball only approach, is that like I do think he should mix the slider in a little bit more, because when he's throwing 100 miles per hour, the slider still coming in the mid 80s is so different than what he's throwing. You're talking like, instead of a 95 to 85 drop, you're talking 100 to 85 difference in velocity. And as you showed in that chart, in very different parts of the zone, although that slider doesn't start, it doesn't start at the bottom. It starts, up. And so like it could be a really good put away pitch if he uses it just a little bit more, and it'll mix things up a little bit more too, and keep the hitters confused. The problem that I'm worried about is like, is he going to the fastball because it's the only fucking thing he can locate? Like,
could be the only thing he trusts. He's like, I trust this. I trust this at the top, and I know he'll catch it. Yeah, I wonder that too, Trees. I also wonder, like, with the slider, is it enough of a just, if I throw this almost anywhere, I'm going to get the result? Like, he doesn't have to throw it for a strike is kind of my thought. Like, can he just throw the high and then like the slider could land wherever? Not hit the bull. You know what I mean? In Bull Durham, but
you got to throw it pretty close to make sure that Martin can catch it. Like that's your big problem.
He's got long arms though. He can move.
They just don't reach all the way down. Like the thing scoots right underneath him. He's an old guy. I get it. I can't bend all the way down either. It happens.
It's like me trying to tie my shoe in the morning. It's like, maybe I just go barefoot today. All right. Before we get on to anything else, I do want to we got a drink here. So I want to get to that drink. Oh. And Jackie Treehorn says, cheers to a 45-win season. Nice knowing you, Pedro.
Jackie, I'll take the over on those 45 wins. Thank you.
I will take it over on that also.
Barely, but we'll take it. All right. Beef, MSS, you got any closing thoughts on Michael Kopech?
I think the only thing to close on Kopech is it's nice to see that there's restored confidence. I'm not a big like confidence or not confidence guy, but Michael Kopech is one guy where it was seemingly obvious, like you could tell when he has no confidence, and you could tell right now he has a lot of confidence. And I like to see that. And I don't know if it's just the combination of things or having a little bit of success. I mean, I think them sticking with him for multiple innings and allowing him to close that game, especially the game against Atlanta, which was a tough save against a tough team. Like, I hope that's restored the confidence, and I hope he has a little more of like a, hey, fuck you, hit this ball kind of thing. Throw the fuck you fastball, baby.
And also, I mean, being on the same
fastball, I like it.
Being on the same team as a player that went from a starting role to a mid-relief, / closer role in Ronaldo Lopez, and seeing him get a chance again to go out and do a starting job. It doesn't, just because you got moved off of that for the time being. Doesn't mean you can't go back. Like it's been shown and it's in his face that this could potentially happen. Shut up, Treasy.
I agree. I agree 100% with you, MSS. It won't happen here. But I agree with you that it could happen somewhere else. Like he could come back and be a starter.
It could, but also just embracing what you're doing right now and knowing you have a job to prove or do, and like this is how you can help your team. It's fucking huge to buy in on it, especially with guys that have egos the size of fucking mountains. To be like, okay, I'm gonna take this diminished role and go out there and do what I can to help.
I think to that though, like the reason I disagree is because I don't think Kopech has ever been able to develop a third pitch of any worth, and so like you're definitely gonna throw him out there as a starter with only 2 pitches. He's tried that; it hasn't seemed to work. If you think that he can go and learn a new pitch with a different org, maybe the coaching here is just that shitty. It's believable, but like I think that like if I'm watching, we've gotten to see him progress through his entire career so far. And like I don't see it. Like I barely was able to see that the relief rule is gonna work.
Fucker, I didn't say it was gonna happen. I just said it's a potential that it could happen.
Yeah, no.
It's like it just hasn't been written off. Look, this is how you manage, dude. You tell people, hey, there's a possibility you could get a raise, but you know what?
The door open.
You're too fucking lazy.
But
you ain't never gonna earn that, so don't worry about it. But you don't tell them that.
It goes against your previous point of like that he just needs to get locked into like this is what I do now. Well, and like be really good at that. Just be really good at that.
If
like he could make a lot of money.
He get the chance.
He could make a real lot of money as a closer.
It's the promise of more donuts, Teresi. It's the promise of more donuts. Your brother doesn't understand that, but
no, I do not.
That's why I like.
Was that Simpsons?
Oh yeah, 100%. I give them donuts when they do good, and then they do better because I promise them more donuts.
MSS, pay some bills.
Gladly.
Baseball is back, White Sox fans, and we're thrilled to have you back on the South Side and excited to help you make this season even more special. Whether you're celebrating a win or lamenting a loss, there's no better way to do it than in a Mazda from Mazda of Orland Park. Driving a Mazda is a truly thrilling experience. It's just like watching Paul DeYoung hit homers at the park. And just like Paul, Mazda cars are some of the most reliable and stylish vehicles on the road. They offer an enjoyable driving experience with sleek designs and advanced technology. Mazdas are also fuel efficient, making them a practical choice for those who want to save money on gas. So why not take your car game to the next level and test drive a Mazda today? Mazda of Orland Park, home of the Zoom Zoom Nation. 8910 West 159th Street, Orland Park. 708-444-3200. Zoom Zoom.
Man, some good jams too.
Daryl looks amazing in that.
So does that Mazda. I might.
You gonna trade up?
I might need to trade up.
I have a picture, but I didn't want to post it because I wasn't sure. Tonight there was an accident on our road of a woman driving a Mazda CX-5.
It was the other driver's fault.
No, she was just driving and ran up this dude's car, smashed into it, and went up the car, flipped over. It's on its fucking side. Both passengers and the driver walked away from the accident. No problems. Safe as fuck. Mazda. Buy one. All right?
But what did that guy do to her that she needed to use the Mazda like a monster truck? Because obviously...
something happened there.
Listen,
right.
I hope this doesn't end up in court, but that car has been fucked up for months and just sitting on the street, right? Like it's been jacked up. This guy could not have gotten a better lottery ticket than for somebody to come around and just total out his car, because now he's going to get a new car or some type of a car at a discounted price because somebody smashed his car. I mean, this is like, I'm like, this guy's going to be like swimming.
This guy got monster truck today. What a lucky son of a bitch.
Lucky dude, because his car
was already jealous his car didn't get monster truck. I get some new shit, man.
Lope, you think you're being funny, but it was 3 cars away. Literally,
you're like,
could have had a problem. I was like, the wife was like, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "Oh, there was a fucking car accident out there." And
they didn't get ours.
She goes, "Where is it?" And I go, "It's pretty."
MSS went laying in the street like he was in the accident.
Had a neck brace on already.
I'm injured.
It's like, what were you doing in the car? Smoking lots of weed. I can't smoke my 2-foot graphics at home. I have to do it in the car.
All right, guys. It's time for last call.
Yes.
All right. So last call is a potpourri of topics. We just come up with whatever we want to talk about, and we throw it out to each other. Beef, you put it on the agenda. You go first, my friend.
All right. I said I wasn't going to talk about the Yohan Moncada injury, and I don't want to delve into it. But watching it live, I got the feeling when you saw it, it was one of these oh shit injuries. Like you watched it, you're like, I know that's a bad injury. Don't know exactly what happened there, but I know this man is not going to be playing for a long time. And so it got my mind kind of racing to other oh shit Chicago injuries. And I'll bring up a few of them, and then you guys feel free if you got some too, would throw them out there. But the first one that came to mind was in 2011, Bears wide receiver Johnny Knox against the Seattle Seahawks. He almost got his spine ripped from his body diving back towards a fumble that he lost. The defender bent him like back on his own body there. And I remember reading a report afterwards saying that it was a good thing that he was a professional athlete. And the way it was worded, it might throw you off the scent, but it was like basically he'd be dead if he wasn't a professional athlete. And I remember people saying, man, I wonder when Johnny Knox is going to come back. And I'm like, he's lucky to be alive right now. This man almost
came
died.
back. He came back already from the fucking dead. That's
It was one of the worst things that I have ever absolutely seen.
So, Beef, or do you got more? Or?
I got more. Yeah, I got plenty more.
Come on.
Not plenty more. Couple more. I got plenty more. White Sox won 1997. Robin Ventura sliding into home and his ankle deciding that it no longer wanted to be part of everything
Put
else.
his leg on backwards.
Oh my God. One of the most disgusting, terrifying, like you see the injury. And one of those, I wasn't in the ballpark, but I was one of the ones in the ballpark where you could hear that injury happening. Like that. That's one where you get the pop. We've been at a softball game where we heard a guy's leg pop like that, right? Like the compound fracture pop. Absolutely disgusting. One, you're like, that's probably a season worth of you do nothing here. It's just bad all around. A couple more Bears ones. I'll do these back to back. The Zach Miller in 2017 in New Orleans, the tight end, no contact on this, and his fucking leg bent absolutely backwards. It was, and he almost lost that leg.
I was gonna say they almost had to amputate, right?
They almost had to amputate his leg. That's how bad it was. No contact on that. No contact. Another no contact was back in 1993, and man, Veteran Stadium. I'm so glad that they don't play football
This is the one
anymore.
I was going to reference. Yeah,
Wendell Davis, fucking kneecaps got kind of rolled up inside of his leg. That's how bad he got tore up. I rewatched the video today, Treasy. It looked like my man got shot out there, and he just laid on and the announcer's like, "Oh, it might have been a hamstring." And I'm thinking, "Ain't no hamstring. This guy barely got no legs left. What are you talking about?" And also no contact. That one was a no contact thing, and it was the seam in the.
It was a seam, right? And like he sued them, right? Like I remember him getting some kind of settlement for it.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Disgusting. Last one I got here. It's I'm not a hockey guy, but this was a terrifying, absolutely awful hit. Rafi Torres on Marian Hossa in 2012, where you thought Marian Hossa was fucking dead. Like he got hit and he was laid out, and it was like I was rewatching the video again. They were taping his head to the goddamn board. Like that's how bad the hit was. So out of Chicago, some terrible injuries to Chicago sports. I don't know if you guys got any other ones you remember or whatever. But I mean, horrifying injuries.
The Ventura and the Wendell Davis were the two that I was like was thinking about the most. Like those are the two. I mean the Derrick Rose one was like, man, that's bad. Like you were just like, but it wasn't like a gross injury or anything. It was just like it happened.
It was like you knew he was fucked.
And you're like, oh fuck, why was he in the game? Like that was like just everybody's kind of emotion all at the same time. Yeah. I will tell you, in a more personal, in a game that I was playing in high school and playing soccer, one of the most gruesome injuries I've ever saw, and I saw it from fairly up close. Our goalie was coming out on a play, and a guy was trying to head the ball, and he put his head into our goalie's face, right into his mouth, and the goalie's teeth were stuck in the guy's head.
Gross.
There was a lot of blood. a fucking lot of blood. Like I was like, did someone did the ball explode? Did someone get shot? Like it was like I was at a crime scene. It was fucking terrifying.
It's fucking gross. I don't have any Chicago. I just have the like Sean Livingston when he was with the Clippers and his
Illinois guy,
like a 90-degree angle on his knee. And as soon as that happened, everyone was like, yeah, see, that's why you don't go to college. Because if that would have went to college, he would not have gotten paid. And then he ended up coming back from it and having a nice little career as a six guy, off the bench guy. And he was good.
What was the college one though? It was like it was NCAA. Wasn't that
the kid from Louisville?
Well, yeah, where the fucking bone came out of his leg.
Oh yeah, and they had to cover it with the towel because it was so gruesome and disgusting. It was also non-contact. He just jumped up and landed and split that thing out. So a couple in the comments, Eskridge says Tim Krumrie leg was ass. That was in the Super Bowl, right?
That was
Krumrie's leg was
early in the Super Bowl,
against the Niners. And then a very famous one, Mr. Ant says, non-Chicago, Joe Theismann. The Joe Theismann one is terrifying. Like that was, you never seen Lawrence Taylor so scared of something, and he was terrified. Like, hey, get out here, get the ambulance out here, like that shit.
The one though that when you talk about Moncada, the one that I thought of when I think we all probably thought of this when we saw Moncada running the first, and that happened is the Bo Jackson.
Yeah,
like that, and like that, and it makes you think of like, holy shit, how bad is this injury? There's a lot of people. First of all, a lot of people like kind of celebrating it, which I was like, what the fuck wrong with you people? You're White Sox fans, and you're like, even if you were an opposing fan, it would be fucked up.
Yeah.
But the other thing is like, a lot of people are like, oh man, he might never play a game as a White Sox again. He might not never play a game again. Like we don't know what happened there. That looked fucking horrible.
Right. And Bo's was like even compounded by the fact that he was so strong that like he like literally pulled even at like more than he should have because he had too much muscle on his leg.
Yeah.
I mean, what just a weird thing to happen to such a like pretty awful human being from when you're dealing with fans.
Oh my god!
You're
still whining about Bo Jackson not giving you an autograph.
No, it's not just me. There's a lot of people.
Paul in the comments says Eric Shaw hitting Andre Dawson. I had as an honorable mention here. Like that was a frightening play. What's even more frightening is Andre got up to whoop this dude's ass afterwards. Like, it almost killed him, and he's like, "I'll fucking kill you back."
One at the park for one that we were all at the park for was the Chris Bassett line drive to the face.
Yeah,
like that was fucking terrifying.
Yep.
And it's even more terrifying when you sit where I sit because I did not see Chris Bassett. So he was perfectly in front of the foul pole, and I saw the ball come through, and it didn't go any further. And then he fell on the ground, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? And I looked around, and everybody was like about to vomit. So it was like,
an audible. It was an audible. Everyone was like, oh, and it just got quiet. And you just sat there, and it was like, oh my God.
Dravecki. Yeah, Dravecki's, that was horrible. That was horrible.
Yeah, no, that's, So I'm sorry to bring it down with the terrible injuries, but I felt like, you know what? We can lift our spirits a little bit. Moncada's injury wasn't as bad as all those injuries. He's walking right now. He's not gonna play for a while, but at least he's not in bad a shape as them guys.
Let me bring our spirits back up a little bit, Beef. Because I got a topic for you. And so, Robbie Avila, aka Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, my guy.
I like Larry Blurred. Like that's a good one too. I like Larry Blurred.
That's good.
Yeah. He signed an NIL deal with the White Sox. So he's one of their athletes, and because this is like a fairly new thing, right? Like we didn't have this when we were younger, but let's imagine we did. We're teenagers in our early 20s. Who are some of the college athletes that you would have wanted to be an NIL deal with the White Sox?
Oh man, an obvious one is Quentin Richardson. Like that, like he was a local guy, and then he played at DePaul. That is the vein in which I would see this through. Simeon Rice would be a great NIL. Awesome. Played for Illinois. It's like I'm trying to think what else.
Donovan McNabb.
Yeah, Donovan McNabb. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I thought his teammate Antoine Walker.
Antoine Walker.
The Caesar Sportsbook thing could be a little tricky, but they didn't have that back then. They didn't have
the man at one time owned like 90 Bentleys. So hey, you had everyone.
What about Ronaldo Wynn? Went to De La Salle. Actually was there while I was there, and then went to Notre Dame. Could have, a nice Notre Dame kid. I mean, that's the kind of things you want.
Here's
John
a good
Carney's
one.
got a good one. Tommy Kleinschmidt would have been, would have been right up there. We did go to Gordon Tech, though, the North Side.
So, I was gonna say he might be a Cubs. Might be a Cubs.
But good choice. Good.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
we convert him.
Good idea right there. No, I like that. Watching who they bring in as the NILs is really interesting to me. And I was glad that they brought him in because I thought this guy is already kind of a big personality out there.
Yeah.
As a mid-major basketball player. And he went in the transfer portal. I don't know if you guys saw that.
He did.
He left Indiana State. He followed his coach to St. Louis.
St. Louis, right?
Yeah. So his coach left and went to St. Louis, and he went there too. I think some of the other guys from
MSS. Did you have like a moment of like, ooh, he might be a U of I guy?
No, he's not that good. I mean,
I
don't think
what do you mean?
enough to go.
He couldn't be in a rotation at U of I? Get out of here.
No, I don't know, man. I really don't know because it's I'll get flack for this, but like that team without Terrence Shannon Jr. was almost as good as them with Terrence Shannon Jr. It's a weird team. They had some depth on that team. And if Dane Danger, who was a good player for them this year, but didn't get the playing time, left because he knows he's not going to get any more playing time, there's something coming up. There's people coming up. They're going to have a good team.
But let's say you're getting curb stomped 30 a 30-0 run. You might want to put that guy in,
motherfucker.
Throw up a 3.
Listen. I agree with you that was an insane
boy, dunk on him, Teresi. Dunk on him.
Insane thing.
This motherfucker.
But now you also have
like
the
U of I's the
one,
Harlem Globetrotters. This man averaged 17 points a game and shoots 80% from the line. He could get in the game at U of I.
He's like Avila. I don't think I want a Hispanic guy on my team.
That's exactly what it is. No, it's not that I don't think that he could play for the team. He could definitely play. I'm saying his playing time would not be probably as significant as it would be in St. Louis or whatever. Right?
Yeah,
he wants to go and play.
You're right.
I agree with you.
But I also, and I'm going to go back to this 30 fucking point shit, motherfucker. You have the number 1 and number 2 teams in the nation all year. You have the number 1 team in Purdue that literally got their asses handed to them by UConn in the national championship game. That game was never a question. UConn ran that game the whole fucking way. And I'm just saying, they were the best team. And Illinois was not. I
get what you're saying.
Team.
I get exactly what you're saying. Whatever makes you sleep at night, tell yourself that.
It doesn't make me sleep.
Chicago's finest puts in the comments Kevin Garnett. I mean, he didn't go to college, but good. I was thinking high school athletes too, because the first name that went in my head was Ronnie Fields. I was like Ronnie Fields, and I was like, oh, he didn't go to college.
Ronnie Fields is my number 1.
He was your number 1 too.
Because
give me Ronnie Fields.
I mean, Ronnie Fields would have had like a Land Rover, and he just would have been living life. It would have been great.
Cincinnati Swindler says Jordan Lynch. Jordan Lynch would have been a good choice as well. Yeah, absolutely.
That's actually a good call. That's a good call from the motherfucker who's always trash talking my internet. Jordan Lynch would have made some scratch. And then in that too, like Garrett Wolf and Kevin Turner, like the running backs. But Turner made it. In it.
When NIU was good, you could have used a bunch of them guys. They would have, that would have worked.
And that's
kind
of what you probably need to go to as the Sox, right? I think that's because you try and get the top guy, but you also want a bunch of people, right?
You got to gather up. If you're going to high school, Teresi, if you're going to high school, if we had Kevin Garnett in there, if you're going to high school, you know what? Even better than Kevin Garnett. I got two guys for you. Two guys. Rashard Griffith and Thomas Hamilton. Thomas Hamilton would out-eat Ron Kittle at the buffet at Sox Park. He was 7'4", 400 pounds. My man, he played in the pros for a little bit.
Yeah,
a little thick to be a pro ball player. But when he was at King High School, dominated. That's my man. You put Thomas Hamilton out there like he's larger than life, baby. Let's go.
He was supposed to go to U of I, and then he failed out, and just couldn't happen.
He's got a little grades problem. Rashard Griffith went to Wisconsin, right?
Yes, he did. And had a really good carear at Wisconsin, too.
He did. He was playing the Pro-Am at De La Salle, and we had to work it. You remember, Treasy, we'd run shifts and certain players. And I was working it, and I got a little chair in the corner where I'm getting towels and stuff for everyone. I leave my chair for a minute to go do something. I come back. Rashard Griffith's in my chair. That's his fucking chair. He is fucking ginormous. I was like, I am not asking this giant man to get out of my chair. I'm like, he can have that chair as long as he wants.
Man, you remember when they fucking started the NIL, and I was like, listen, we need to go after not the best athlete on any of these teams, but like go get like the number 2 bowler at NIU to be like the NIL for the 108. You know, like, hey, you know, when I listen,
pay you $100 a year to be our NIL student.
I never listened to White Sox podcasts, but if I did, I would listen to the 108. You know, like just stupid shit like that, because I was like, man, you want to give these people some money. So, see.
There's some
Cincinnati's
good
trying
ones
to
in
get
here.
back in my good stuff with Mark Aguirre. Oh man, trust me, he got taken care of. He's fine. Don't worry about it.
He made more money at DePaul than he did.
He got a lot of money.
We got Mike Allstott from Chicago's Finest. We got Michael Turner from Gordo, and then Jack Carey also says Michael Turner, the burner.
Yeah, I think I said Kevin Turner.
Tadahito says Darnell Autry. He said, but fuck Northwestern. Yeah, Darnell Autry would have been a good choice too. Danny Miller says Mike Kafka. It's got
Beef. You wanted Q, you know, but like
Q, I love Q,
if it was the 108 doing it from that same team, it would have been Lance Williams.
big boy.
So
yeah.
that guy was 108.
Rice Krispie treats, right,
so,
Treasy?
So yeah, I went to school. I was
Q.
at DePaul at the same time. You saw Q on campus every once in a while, right? Like, hey, he wasn't going. Like, none of these guys were going to class. But Lance Williams, I mean, like up in my room, and the team was good. So like they talk about him on the score and shit. And so you like listen to the radio and like, oh yeah, you know, Lance Williams, he's getting in good shape and blah blah blah. And it's like, oh, that sounds cool. And I'm like in the food court downstairs, and like I see that motherfucker walk by with 2 things of Rice Krispie treats and like 6 liters of cola, just walking through. And I'm
part
just
of his
like,
diet plan.
Was it?
Yeah,
Was it the homemade Rice Krispie treats like
He
they
better
used
just
to make
be-
in the cafeteria that were like the size of like a 6
we used
inch?
to in our cafeteria MSS. We used to get like there was it was like a sheet of Rice Krispie treats, but it was actually Rice Krispie like wrapper. Like it was like just
Big
one
blue
gigantic one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he had 2 of those and like 6 2-liters on top of it. And I'm like, if he's getting in shape, this motherfucker just better be walking this all around campus. Like, but I know what he's doing with it. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna bet on him being in the best shape of his life. But that's exactly why he's 108 NIL.
A few more out there. Danny Miller says Nicky Lopez. LOL.
Oh.
Paul says Curtis Granderson. That is a great idea. Yes,
That's a huge.
that would have been great.
That's a huge miss by us.
And then Ian Smith, Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember seeing a highlight video. I worked with a guy who played against Dwayne Wade, and it was in one of Dwayne Wade's highlight videos. He like shoved him to the ground. You met my buddy Dave Milnes a million years ago, right? Treasy? Yeah, that guy. He got shoved to the ground by him.
You know what those. Speaking of like guys that were like very famous here, I think it would have been interesting to be in this situation years ago when Hoop Dreams came out, and see what kind of, like, when those guys went into college, what kind of NIL deals they would have got of, like, even though they kind of flamed out, like what kind of money would they have gotten because of the movie, right? Like, and like people would be like, oh, I know who that is, and like I'm into this. So like I don't know, that would be an interesting one.
Yeah, those poor guys. That was just a rough. That was I mean, for them even to make it to college and play basketball in college was pretty big. Like, because you just don't know. They got those guys when they were freshmen in high school. Yeah. I mean, and just followed it. I mean, that's
William Gates
crazy.
And Arthur Agee.
Yeah, and this isn't. And this wasn't like, oh, hey, we're shooting, you could just have multiple cameras and multiple crews and all this shit. This is like 2 dudes, It wasn't like we were recording fucking epic fucking movies on our iPhones, Like, this took some fucking doing.
It's an impossibly great movie. Like, yes. They were able to do that, yeah.
Man, it's just a lot of shit. Man,
couple more. Amari Sawyer. Yeah, it's remember Amari Sawyer. And then
Ty Streets.
Ty Streets. Ty
call.
Streets, good call.
All right, MSS.
All right,
you're up last.
So great. I'm loving closing. Closing's fun. I'm the new Michael Kopech. So this week, I think it was just yesterday, this tweet was put out there, and it was from our guy Bob Straza. And it was the oh god, what's the guy? Is it Jackson Holiday? He got called up to the Baltimore Orioles, and I don't know if you've watched that video, but honestly, one of the worst videos I've ever watched. Like, the guy is saying, hey, you remember when your dad used to bring you in his locker rooms? Well, you better call him and thank him because he taught you all these things. And it was like, oh god, he just belabored it. Like, it was horrible. I'm glad the kid smiled at the end of it. But so Bob posts this tweet and it says, not there's anything wrong with women or young girls enjoying or being part of the sport, but baseball is a quintessential father and son pastime. And immediately our the faithful people that we know went in on him. Our person Candice, shout out to my dad for making sports and baseball a quintessential part of his daughter's pastime. We had our guy Hank the Tank is like, if you have to say it, it means that's how you really feel. Girls liking baseball isn't scary, you fucking nerd. I hope she loves it as much as I do. The next one, Celeste. Baseball is also a quintessential father and daughter pastime. It's how I learned to love the game. Also, Bob can get fucked. Crystal
the t-shirts.
Yeah. Crystal O'Keefe says, I don't think my dead dad even liked baseball. My aunt introduced me to the sport, which my dad introduced me to baseball. My aunt took me to my first professional baseball game, which was an opening day on the north side. So how about that? So now people are kind of coming right at Bob, and they're like saying, no, girls like Sue. And I wanted to retweet them too and to say, you're a piece of shit, Bob, and post a picture of my kids. But I didn't because enough people had already got on him. I wanted to see where it went. So then Bob posts, people are insane, man.
Insensate, he said.
The misspelling, like in the third word, that's the new level right there.
I'm not responding to this anymore. I had no intention to be unexclusive, and baseball is for everybody, every race, sex, or creed. I was just simply saying how powerful of a connection it is for most men with their fathers. The title is Call Your Dad. Well, Bob, I make titles for videos too. Okay. Like, I mean, it's really, I didn't get a degree in it or something. It's not like, hey, this is the title. This is all you can feel from this. So I start feeling for Bob. I'm like, oh, you know what? As a guy of myself that sometimes puts tweets out that people don't understand, and then I don't understand why they don't understand, and it's a big confusing thing, and then you start calling elitist, and then people are yelling at you for all these things. I can kind of like sympathize with Bob, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe Bob is not that bad of a guy. He just made a mistake. And then Bob starts tweeting out some shit, and I'm like, who's this Bob? Bob, this woman, Stephanie B, writes out, what about people who had baseball as a mother-daughter thing? And Bob goes, 1,000 different ways to enjoy, learn about, and make connection with the game. And no one is way better or worse. It's just different. That's great. Your mom seems great. I mean, come on. That's a face only a mother could love. What a special lady. Bob is called Stephanie ugly in her tweet. So he was like,
what the hell?
He like Bob, professional catfisher.
Let me ask this question, though.
Rolled her, cast it out, caught her, and brought her in, and then called her fucking ugly with a picture of her mom.
Hang on, let me ask you a question here. It crossed my mind. Is Bob too stupid to know what he just said? Like,
Or is it a troll account? Like,
what is? Yeah,
troll account.
We got to get
Like,
to the end of the story, but it crossed my mind, Tracy. This man,
third-year Letterman or whatever.
He couldn't spell insane. He's spelling weird stuff. I thought maybe he's just too dumb to figure this out.
But like, she didn't even say anything. It's like, hey, you dumb motherfucker, or anything. Like, she didn't even come at him, and he's like, yeah, you're fucking ugly, and yeah, you should know that. So then I'm like, okay, well, maybe Bob was just getting, we've known people that are getting tweeted up, and they get a little excited, and they like every once in a while they put up.
They go off.
Yeah, we know you.
Yeah. So this guy, it's G27, says this is the most ridiculous thing ever. I, a woman, watch and love baseball because of my dad. We bond watching baseball and going to games together. Bob responds with, the most ridiculous thing ever is having Rihanna as your profile picture. I bet she's so impressed. I bet she even has you as her profile pic. Loser. And I was like, whoa, Bob. It's like you're starting to judge people based on their profile pic.
I do that too.
I'm on Bob's side on that. That was a pretty good tweet. I'm going to be honest with you. I like that tweet. That was pretty funny. So, okay.
You're fucking stupid.
That's one point for Bob. He was getting his ass kicked, but he did get 1 point here. Okay, go ahead.
And then Bob is responding to Matt Michaels, who had really gone in on him and he says, you still look like Jared from Subway. Bob responds with, you need to start eating some Subway, you fat slob. You're the dude that wears a t-shirt in a swimming pool, don't you? And then Bob goes, after that, he had another tweet where he's like, oh, you make one joke about somebody's weight and they come at you. And it's like, well, you said women can't enjoy the big, it's fine if they enjoy it, but they really don't get it like guys get it, you know? And then you're like attacking people that aren't even really attacking you and telling them they're ugly when they're in pictures with their mom wearing a panda hat. And then, and then you're telling somebody else, well, you should eat Subway because you're fat. So I'm thinking,
hang on. Let's rewind to that. Put that tweet back up there.
Okay.
Okay. He said you still look like Jared from Subway. Now Jared is kind of like not just was old fat guy, but he's also like weird child rape guy. So I get Bob being upset by all this. It's that could be a little upsetting.
Well, he doesn't say, hey, no, don't compare me to that monster. He said, no, you know what? You need a sub.
You're fat.
You fat fuck.
You should. You're so fucking fat. You should eat sub sandwiches to slim down.
Grinders, Ogies and grinders. So then I'm looking at his profile and I see his picture up there in the corner, and I'm like, do I dare? Do I dare? So I do. I click it, and it's Bob with I'm assuming his grandmother as his profile pic. So while he's shit talking women and saying they don't understand baseball and can't enjoy it as much as men, his profile pic is him with his probably soon to die grandmother and him wearing a chin strap beard, losing his hair on all sides. It's just a lot.
Wait. This dude can't post a picture of him and his slightly older wife. Like, I mean, like, what the fuck? MSS, you calling this lady his grandma.
Listen, maybe
that's why season alone, okay, my friend?
Maybe Lope is right. Maybe that's why he took it so hard when the guy called him Jerry. He's like, no, I'm a GILF guy. I am not. I'm into only older women.
I go the other way, my friend.
Preteen.
It triggered him. You're right, MSS. I think that's what happened there.
You have a point there, Loaf. But that's my last call. Bob, go fuck yourself. I don't think he was a troll account. I did a lot of looking at his tweets, but definitely took me down a path I did not think I was going to go to. But I was like, it was just interesting. It was interesting to start off with that first tweet to end up with, go fuck yourself, you ugly ass woman. That was just interesting.
What a ride.
I totally thought MSS was going to end this with, so I couldn't get Violet Myers on the show, but I got Bob.
And he pops up in the screen.
Here he is.
Man, how cool that
tells us all how fucking fat we are.
And you, what's with all that gray? Yeah. You look like a weird pedophile Santa Claus. Jesus.
Oh, my God. All right, well, while I catch my breath, I think it's about time for some thank yous and GFYs. Beef, I'm going to start with you.
I want to thank Ozzie Guillen Jr., Chris Gonzalez, and Justin Lee for having me back on the Blackout Show last night. Real fun time cutting it up with them. And I appreciate Ozzie's nice comments, not only about the 108 tourney, just about the 108 in general. He was very complimentary of us, community building and everything. So really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun talking ball with them guys. So check out that show and I really enjoyed being on there with them. They said they got to get you guys on there. They said they want to get the other OGs from the 108. So I told them you guys would be in. So good time.
When we get Ozzie in the soak?
Ozzie Jr. did the where he's shirtless in that's why he's soak ready, right?
That's why. Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, he's ready for the soak. He's ready for the soak.
Put a hat on though. You might get sunburned. You gotta be careful.
Well, that's true.
And I'm going to say tensure about 100 times when Gonzo's on our show. So I'll just be like tensure. It's not tenure. It's tensure.
Tensure. That's right.
It was a good show. I didn't see the whole thing, but I watched the first beginning part, especially when Ozzie had the same thought about Pedro Grafal as I did. And I thought that you think we're stupid about it, but yeah, I think Pedro's always been a guts guy. So
I think there's a lot of hindsight bias in that thought. I think it's you reframing the problem and back.
MSS. I was out to lunch with our guy Josh Nelson the other day. You know what I told him? I said Colson Montgomery never plays a game for Pedro Grafal. That they don't like Pedro enough that they won't let him put his fucking stink on Ramos or Montgomery. So when those guys get called up, I very much expect that guy to be the fuck out of here.
Okay. So, all right. Well,
Yeah, and so I'm putting a time limit on it. So like
we should put that on.
You could tell me go fuck myself when that happens.
Oh, I will.
And like earlier, I said Max Stassi's coming back because I got to win my bet against you. There's a lot of Little Caesars pizzas on the line.
A lot of Little Caesars.
Let's not forget about that.
There definitely is a lot of Little Caesars on the line.
MSS, who are you thinking? Or GF?
I got to give a thank you to my girls' teachers and their school support systems who care just as much about my daughters as I feel like my wife and I do. We had 2 great conferences yesterday with my daughter who's in kindergarten and my daughter that's in 2nd grade. And they're both getting great grades, and they're continuing to grow, which is the bigger part. Because like, who gives a fuck what kind of grades you got in 2nd grade or kindergarten? For Christ's sake, no one cares as long as you continue to keep going up. And watching my youngest, who at the beginning of the year says, "Hey, what does this say?" and she goes, "I don't know, and not even driving by a billboard and going, "Dad, beer." Goose Island beer. And you're like, yes, that's it. That's good. You should have learned that 5 years ago. But yeah, they're both continuing to grow and come into their own, and also starting to come into the things where they're starting to talk about things that are scary. They're making me terrified. They're like, how is she doing with her friends? Are they starting to have little squabbles? Because it starts in 2nd grade. And I was like, I don't want this to start in 2nd grade. I don't want anything to start. Yes, But I'm glad that we have 2 kids in definitely different schools at different levels, and that like both are enjoying their times and are surrounded by people that actually care about them. So shout out to those guys. So thank you very much.
Awesome.
Well, you forgot to say fuck Bob, but
I think I did a whole set about how to Bob. So.
I'm gonna thank my wife Cornsey, because we've been having to get stuff done around the house and shit, and like we had to get just a minor plumbing thing done. And like, I love living in condos, but there's one fucked up thing about condos is like getting anything from the building is a fucking catastrophe. Yeah. Right? Like, so Cornsey gets it. They're like, hey, there's like 47 seconds per week that you could have the water turned off in the building, and this is the time. Make sure you get all the shit. And like, she handles all of it, and then like they're doing the shit, and then the guy from the building comes up and he's like, there's water in the apartment beneath you guys. And they're like, well, we're working on the thing here. He's like, oh, I guess we didn't shut off the water right or something, or the water doesn't shut off properly. And it's like, you had one fucking thing to do. You had one knob to turn. And Corey's dealing with all this shit. Meanwhile, I'm at work just texting about O.J. Simpson and how he went to hell to find the killer. So I appreciate that she does that shit for me. But that's it for tonight. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.